I met with my cousin a couple of weeks ago, my younger cousin, and they always try and gas me up, you know, bring me up and you're a role model, you've done this, that. They proper look up to me. And I had a conversation, and I talked to him about, you know, struggles that I've been through, and he literally was like gobsmacked, like shocked to think, like they looked at me like I'm some superhero, and he was just like, wow, like I just wouldn't have thought. And I wanted to get that across just to show that I am human as well, and you know, Ben isn't, he's a machine.
I bleed sometimes.
But no, I wanted to get that point across to him to help him, that if he's ever gone through any struggles, to think, you know what, this is normal, this is natural, this is a part of life, and that he can get out of it. But at the same time, I do sort of think that you have to get to, I'm not going to say level of maturity, but I think that it would have been harder for me to have come out with these things years and years ago, where I don't feel that I reached a certain level. I think when you reach to a certain level, it then becomes a little bit easier for you to discuss these things, because you've had successes, and then you think that you can then revert back to it and think, all right, this is where I've come from. Whereas if you haven't reached a certain milestone, you maybe think that, I don't know.
I don't think it's a level of I think it's a level of emotional maturity.
Yeah. Okay, emotional.
So not even milestones of, it is milestones to a degree,
but those milestones will help with that.
Yeah, they will. Because some people will get there faster than others. Yeah. Some people might have a massive fail super early on, and because of that, you learn from that experience and it builds up. And some people might have loads of little incremental failures and successes and might reach that level of emotional maturity later on. But I would think the milestone definitely built in, and your emotional maturity is a milestone in itself. But I think that's what defines when you're ready to turn around and say, I am secure enough in myself to let people know I have vulnerabilities. I am human. Like, because vulnerabilities are part of human nature. Something you can piece over them, but for anybody who looks like they're absolutely invincible, nobody's invincible. No one's got to where they've got to. I think Denzel Washington does a really good commencement speech, which he did years ago when he did it, but he did a commencement speech at one of the universities, and he's talking about going through stuff, and he's like, I got told I was no good, and I was like, but I just went back. You know what? I didn't quit. I kept going, and I failed, and I failed, and I failed, and I failed. And what did he say? He said, the saying goes that if you stand outside the barber shop for long enough, then you'll get a haircut. Yeah. Like, so if you keep going for it, you will soon get a chance.
I think a lot of people don't see the struggle. Like, an example of that is when I did my exams for my ACCA. I failed my ACCA so many times. At one point, like, I would sit there crying by myself because I thought I couldn't do it. But the thing is with me is that I don't quit. Even if I want to quit, I just don't. I can't. So I'd be sitting at home just struggling with this, and I'd be working hard, and I'd go to the exam, and I might freeze up, and it was to the point where I was like, maybe I can't do this. And like there's certain songs that I listened to when I was studying, and I remember it, and they helped me get past the exam because they were motivational songs, and and maybe it was E.T. as well. Listening to E.T. Eric Thomas, listening to his speeches, and just seeing people, and it helped me push past.
Did you speak to anybody about what you was going through at the time?
I'm lucky that my best friend is my mum.
Yeah.
So when I'm going through difficulties, and I can be openly honest with her, saying I can't do this.
Yeah.
And she will pick me up and say, yes, you can, or she'll tell me other ways of thinking of how maybe to like step back. I've got other friends. I've got like my friend Coralie. He's probably my best friend, one of my best friends, and she's probably been through me through the whole journey of me doing my dance, and she's seen me go through things where I've been like, maybe I've been. I've times when I've cried by myself, and she's there, and I've shared it with her. And then like even like with this group, like I was struggling with something like 2 weeks ago, and then listening to Ben say like even the offense thing, just picking up that kind of thing. Like you said in this group, you pick up you pick up things. Yeah. So like that helps me. Like even if I'm down about something, that hearing another like perspective. I didn't tell Ben, but hearing Ben say that, like, well, okay, that's helped me like my mindset. So I think it's also having the trust in people, because I find I open up easier when I trust people. Because I've done it before. I've opened up to someone, and then someone's I felt they used that weakness against me. Because when people I trust, that's who I find it easy to open up to.
Because I think Stormzy did touch on it in his interview, the importance of good people around you. I know we've talked about it in the past about building your support group, but how important that is when you are going through struggles, being able to lean on people. So you were saying that you sort of manage things yourself, but you know, some people may not able to do that, and then being able to talk to people.
He's had this thing where he's been brutally honest with me about things, and I've been surprised how open he is, because of, like, you see Ben, you think he's a machine, yeah. And then when he actually opens up about certain things, he can just put things out there, and I'm like, wow, he's like that. And for me, it shows that he actually trusts me.
I was going to say that.
Because when he trusts me, then that, because he trusts me, I feel like I can trust him, so I can then open up to him and tell him stuff, because if he's had the emotional intelligence and maturity to like say, well, this is me, Josh, and I feel like, well, if he can get to me, then I can trust him with my problems, and feel like he won't use that against me, because he's been openly honest with me.
So do you know what it is though? So when I say everybody deals with it in a different way. When I say I deal with it, so I consider myself like an open book. So you ask me a question, I'll give you an honest answer.
Okay.
But more times than not, somebody says to me, "How you doing?" I'll be like, "I'm good."
Yeah.
Might not necessarily good, but I'm like, I'm good because I know they're going through stuff. And somebody said to me before, they're like, you can't be good all the time. I'm like, look, in the grand scheme of things, I can handle my problems, but your problems in comparative ratio seem a bit more. So I'm more open and receptive to like, don't worry about whether I'm good or not. How are you? Like, and so I'm more of my natural approach is to be a helper of others. Hence why I don't always necessarily openly come out and say, oh yeah, I'm bad. But then when somebody asks me a question, I'll be openly honest. Like, I don't have nothing to hide. Because that's why when we've had conversations, I lay stuff out on the table. We had conversations at your wedding before. What we were talking about, it was actually to do with, the conversation was around, I was like, because obviously we're at a wedding and everyone's like with their missus and the rest of it. And I can't remember what came up, but I was like, yeah, I have no confidence when it comes to women. They're like, what? And I'm like, I don't have the confidence to walk across the room and just go and speak to a woman. But I'm like, once I say one word to her, I'm fine. I'll speak to somebody all night, and then everybody look around like, what? You don't have confidence, and because in everybody's mind, the thing is, to people who meet me now from the outside in, they look at it like this guy has used confidence. I'm like, but you have no idea where the humble beginnings I've started from. I'm the guy that wouldn't say boo to a goose. Like, I grew up, chubby kid, looked like Fat Albert. Like, show a picture to somebody, she went, that's not you, someone ate you. I'm like, trust me for what it is. They're like, oh, you look so cute. I'm like, I'm telling you, small, afro, chubby, studies at school, not cool. Absolute zero game going through school, wasn't cute, wasn't cool, life was tough. Like, so now, but all of that has built me up to be like, I went through like multiple stages. Like, I had that, and then I got to a point where I started going gym. I was like, literally no F's given for anything. I went to the other extreme. Everyone was like, I don't like you anymore, you got too much attitude. And then I kind of mirrored back on here. That's why I'm a kind of like Ben 10 version or something, because I've admitted and gone back and forth from each of the others. But again, for me, I handle my own stuff internally. I'll speak to people if I need to speak to people, but in general, I like to, and it's part of my whole internal resolution process, in that I like, when I need to speak to people, yes, it can help you out. It's always what I believe when somebody goes to psychologists. Psychologists don't really do much. They ask open questions for you to give. Yeah. And so the thing is, I like to ask open questions to myself to come up with the corresponding answers to them. But that's only because I've done a lot of reading in that kind of psychology space to understand what I'm doing. So I'm like my own self-psychologist. However, like I say, if somebody asks me a question, I'm open. I think the only reason is, for me, is I'm a bit more like, I'm cool, but what's going on with you? And then if someone's got a problem, ask them a question. Some of the best conversations I have, not for me, for the recipient on the other side, is we have long conversations. I ain't saying nothing. I ain't saying nothing to you. Somebody will tell me what they're into. I spoke to a guy before, he's a mechanic. I asked him a few questions about that. I opened up a question about Formula 1. He spoke for about 25 minutes without me even intervening.